Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Ashok IT. Today is our third session related to Java real-time project training. In the previous two classes, we discussed about types of software companies, types of projects in the companies, what is the interview process in product-based company and service-based company, and what is the package structure, and how many types of jobs are available in the software industry, what is payroll company and a client company that we have discussed, and we have discussed about how to cover gap as experience. These points we discussed in the last classes. Those class videos already uploaded in the YouTube and I have shared in the WhatsApp group as well. Anyone who is not part of that WhatsApp group, they can join in the WhatsApp group. I have given group link in the chat box. All right, fine. From today onwards, we are going to start with a real-time tools concept. Today onwards, we are going to start with real-time tools concept in our project training. Guys, as a Java developer, along with the coding knowledge, we need to have some knowledge on real-time tools also. Tools will help us to complete coding plus testing plus deployment process. Tools will help us in completing in coding, testing, and deployment process. By using tools, we can deliver the project quickly. Okay, so we all are the Java developers. We know what is Java, how to write the Java code. Along with the Java code, we need to work with some tools also in the real time. The tools which we are going to use in our real-time project implementation, those are called as real-time tools. Every Java developer should have working experience with these tools because in the company, every day we are going to work with these tools. Tools will help us in coding, testing, and deployment process. For example, if we talk about Maven and Gradle, this Maven and Gradle, they are called as build tools. So if we need to create a project and we need to download the libraries required for the project. For example, in my project, I want to use a Spring. In my project, I want to use a Hibernate. In my project, I want to use a JUnit. So those libraries are required for the project. So here, by using Maven, we can download the required libraries. In order to develop a Java project, if you know only Java, you cannot complete the project. By using only Java, we cannot develop the entire project. Along with the Java, we are going to use some tools also in the project implementation. So one of the tool is Maven. It is called as build tool. What this Maven can do, we can create project by using Maven. I want to create one web application. What is the structure for the web application? What is the structure for the standalone application? That project structure we can create by using Maven. Okay, and it can download libraries, download required libraries. In order to develop our application, for example, I need Spring Boot, I need JPA, okay, I need JUnit, etc. So these are called as libraries. In order to develop a project, we are not going to use only Java. Along with the Java, we need some libraries also. Those libraries we can get by using this Maven. By using Maven, we can create the project structure. We can download required libraries, compile the source code. By using Maven, we can compile our project source code. As a developer, we will write the .java files, but the DevOps people should deploy our application into the server. For that, they need to compile our project to source code and execute unit test cases. Our project will have JUnits. In order to test our code is working as expected or not, we are going to implement the unit testing. So those unit testing we will develop by using JUnit. So we need to execute the test cases, then package our project up. as a jar or war file. If the project is standalone application, then we can package our project as a jar file. If our project is a web application, then we will package our project as a war file. So these all steps earlier we used to perform manually. Now to avoid this process, in order to avoid this manual process, we are going to use Maven or Gradle as a build tool. Every Java developer should know how to work with Maven and Gradle. By using Maven, we can create the project structure. We can download required libraries for the project. We can compile project to source code. We can execute unit test cases of the project, and we can package our project as a jar file or war file. If our project is a standalone application, we will package that as a jar file. If our project is a web application, we will package that as a war file. Now, can you imagine any project in the company without a build tool like Maven and Gradle? Guys, do you think that people will download the jar files manually? Do you think that people will compile the source code manually? No. So we need to perform all these steps for our project. We need to create the project. We need to download the required libraries. We need to compile the project to source code. We need to execute unit test cases of the project. And we need to package our project as a jar file or war file. For that, we will use Maven and Gradle. Okay. The next one, we are going to use a tool called JUnit. We are going to use a tool called JUnit. So unit testing tool. What is JUnit? JUnit is called as unit testing tool. JUnit to perform unit testing. To perform unit testing. To identify bugs in code. Right? So whatever the code we have developed, is that code is working as expected or not, we have to test it. In order to test our code is working as expected or not, we are going to use JUnit. JUnit is called as unit testing tool. By using that, we can perform project unit testing. By using that, we can identify bugs available in the code. We can improve code quality. By using this unit testing. Okay. For every project, unit testing is mandatory. Whatever the code we have developed, is that code working as expected or not? Is there any bug available in our code that can be tested by the developers by using JUnit? So Maven is called as a build tool. JUnit is called as a unit testing tool. And similarly, we are having another tool called Log4j, logging tool. Okay. So to implement logging, right, to generate log messages, application exceptions, application execution flow. We can see application execution flow. We can see exceptions occurred in the project. Right? So what is the execution flow of our application? What is the runtime behavior of the application? We can understand. What exceptions are coming in our application? Where is the problem available in our application that can be monitored by using this? Logging in our application. Okay. Log4j, which is called as a logging tool. This is used to generate log messages in our application. We can see application execution flow. We can see exceptions occurred in the project. We can understand runtime behavior of the application. Runtime behavior of our application by using this Log4j. So in the real time, for every project, logging will be implemented. Okay. To implement logging in our application. Okay. By using this log messages, we can understand what is the application execution flow and where exceptions are occurred in our project. What is the runtime behavior of the application can be monitored by using this Log4j. As a Java developer, these real-time tools are very, very, very important. Tools will help us in coding, in testing, in deployment process. Maven and Gradle, they are called as the build tools. JUnit is called as unit testing tool. Log4j is called as logging tool. The next one, we are having Sonar Cube. We are having Sonar Cube, that is called as code review tool. Sonar Cube is called as a code review tool to perform the code review. So in the project, multiple developers will be available. So all the developers are following proper coding standards or not. We can review that code by using code review. To perform code review, we can identify bugs in the code. We can identify bugs in code. We can identify duplicate code in the project. We can identify duplicate code blocks. We can identify duplicate code blocks in the project. So multiple developers are working. So is there a chance that multiple developers can write the same code in the project? That is called duplicate code. We can identify such kind of duplicate code blocks by using Sonar Cube. Sonar Cube is used to perform code review, and Sonar Cube is used to identify bugs in the code, and we can identify duplicate code blocks also by using this Sonar Cube code review software. So here we are going to use Sonar Cube to perform the project code review. In that code, what are the bugs available? Where the duplicate code blocks available? Security issues in the project. We can identify vulnerabilities. We can identify vulnerabilities in the code. Vulnerability is nothing but security issues. Is there any security hotspots available in the code? That can be done by using Sonar Cube. Okay. And the next one, we are going to use Postman. Postman is called as API testing tool to perform REST API testing, to test REST API. To test REST API functionality, we are going for Postman. Okay. What is Postman? Postman is called as API testing tool to test REST API functionality, to test backend applications, to test backend application behavior. In the backend, we are going to develop microservices. Microservices are nothing but REST APIs. How the REST APIs are working? When we develop the only backend, when there is no front end, we need to test our backend application. To test the backend applications, we are going to use Postman. Okay. What is the main purpose of Postman? What is this Postman? Postman is called as API testing tool. It is used to test our REST API functionality. To test backend application behavior, we are going for Postman. And there is a tool called JMeter. JMeter is called as performance testing tool. What is JMeter? JMeter is called as performance testing tool to test application stability, test application responsiveness, test application stability, test applications responsiveness. That means when 100 users access our application, what is the response time? If 1,000 users access our application, what is the response time? If 1 lakh users access our application at a time, what is the response time? So like this, we can test stability of the application, or we can test responsiveness of the application by using JMeter. What is JMeter? JMeter is called as performance testing tool, which is used to test application stability, which is used to test application responsiveness. So in the real time, once our development is completed, we need to test how our application is behaving, whether our application is stable or not, to identify bottleneck of the application. What is the bottleneck of the application? Nothing but what is the failure point of the application, when this application will fail. So if 1,000 users are accessing our application, it is responding. If 10,000 users access this application, responding. If 1 lakh users access this application, responding. Then when it will fail? What is the bottleneck of the application? Bottleneck of the application, nothing but failure point of the application. Okay. So JMeter, it is used to test application stability. It is used to test application responsiveness. It is used to identify bottleneck of the application. JMeter. Okay. And the next one, as a Java developer, we need to know how to work with Jenkins. How to work with Jenkins. CI/CD tool, continuous integration and continuous deployment to automate build and deployment process. Jenkins is used to automate build and deployment process to achieve CI and CD, continuous integration and continuous deployment. When we are working in the project, okay, we need to deploy latest code into server multiple times. We need to build the code and we need to deploy the code. Instead of doing the build and deployment process manually, in order to do the build and deployment process manually, we can go for automated build and deployment process. To automate the build and deployment process, we are going to use a tool called Jenkins. Jenkins is called as CI/CD software. By using Jenkins, we can automate project build and deployment process. By using this, we can achieve continuous integration and continuous deployment. That means when developer modify the code in the project, automatically that code should be compiled and that code should be packaged and that code should be deployed in the server. So to automate build and deployment process of the application, we are going for Jenkins. To automate build and deployment process, we are going for Jenkins. Automate build and deployment process, we are going for Jenkins. And similarly, nowadays, everybody should know Docker, containerization. Okay. To simplify, to deploy, run the application without bothering about the dependencies. Run the application in containers. What is Docker? Docker is called as a containerization software. Currently in the market, people are running the applications in the containers. In order to run our application in the containers, we are going for a tool called Docker. Docker is called as containerization software. What is Docker, guys? Docker is called as containerization software. By using Docker, we can run the application in the container. Run the application in the container. Isolate application execution. Isolate application execution with our machine infrastructure. Okay. To isolate application execution. Run the application in the container. We can isolate app execution. So whatever the softwares are required to run the application, you no need to install that softwares. For example, I want Java for running my application. I want database to run my application. Without bothering about that, we can use Docker to run the application. Okay. So here, what is Docker? Docker is called as containerization software. By using Docker, we can run the applications in the container. We can isolate app execution from our machine. So you no need to install the required softwares. I want Java, MySQL database, Tomcat server and all. So you no need to install all the softwares which are required to run the application when you go for a Docker. Docker will take care of these concepts. Docker will take care of the softwares which are required to run our application. Docker is mainly used to Dockerize our applications. That means Docker is used to run our applications in the container. Container nothing but a box in which our application is going to execute. We can make application portable. We can make our application portable. We can run our application on any machine, portable. We can make our application portable by using Docker. The application which is running in the Windows machine should be able to run in the Linux machine also without installing all the required softwares. So that's where we are going to use this. That's where we are going to use this concept. All right. Now, in order to Dockerize our applications, we are going to use Docker software. Docker which is used to run the application in the container. We can isolate application execution from our machine. We can make our application portable by using Docker. Docker is having lot of demand in the market. And the next one, Kubernetes. Kubernetes is used for orchestration purpose. Kubernetes is used for orchestration purpose to manage Docker containers. What is the meaning of Docker containers? It is used for scaling, load balancing, rolling updates, rollbacks. Okay, so deployment activities, all the application deployment activities it will be taken care when we are using Kubernetes. Okay, I want to run my application in 10 containers. I want to go for scale up, scale down. Based on the incoming traffic, I want to increase the count of the containers. I want to decrease the count of the containers. In order to perform such kind of scaling, we are going to use Kubernetes. Jenkins, Docker, Kubernetes, these are called as DevOps tools. Not only for the DevOps engineers, even developers also should know how to work with Jenkins, how to work with Docker, how to work with Kubernetes. Even for freshers also, in the interview, they are asking the questions from Docker, Kubernetes, and Jenkins. Are you guys able to follow me? What is Kubernetes? Kubernetes is called as orchestration platform that is used to manage our Docker containers. Orchestration means managing the resources. Kubernetes is called as orchestration platform. By using Kubernetes, we can manage Docker containers. We can increase the containers count and we can decrease the containers count. That is called scaling. Okay, the concept is called as auto scaling in the Kubernetes. When more number of requests are coming, our containers should be increased. When the less number of requests are coming, our containers count should be decreased. When the more number of requests are coming, load should be distributed. That is called load balancing. Rolling updates, rollbacks we can do by using Kubernetes. All the deployment activities can be done by using Kubernetes. In the real time, the projects are deploying by using Docker, Kubernetes, and Jenkins. If you learn Docker, Kubernetes, Jenkins, you will understand 40% of the DevOps course. In the companies, DevOps engineers will be available to build and deploy our application by using Docker, Kubernetes, and Jenkins. All right. So we are going to learn the DevOps practices also. When I say it is a real-time project, completely we are going to understand in the real-time structure. In the real time, how the project development will happen, how the project testing will happen, how the project deployment will happen, how the project delivery will happen, we are going to understand all that stuff. Are you getting my point? So we are talking about the real-time tools which we are using in the real-time project implementation. So in real time, we will use several tools to perform coding, testing, and deployment. In real time environment, we will use several tools. We will use several tools as part of our SDLC, that is software development lifecycle. So in the companies, we are going to follow SDLC in order to develop, test, and deliver our project. In the real-time environment, we will use several tools as part of our SDLC. SDLC nothing but development lifecycle. So the first one is Maven. Maven we are going to call as build tool, which is used to automate project build process. Okay. So here Maven or Gradle are used. Maven or Gradle are used to automate project build process. What is the meaning of automating the build process? Creating the projects, downloading the dependencies, I mean to say libraries required for the project, compiling the project source code, executing unit test cases of the project, packaging our project as a jar file or war file. That will be done by using Maven. Maven and Gradle, these are called as build tools. They are used to automate project build process. They are used to create the project structure. They are used to download the required libraries. They're used to compile project to source code. They're used to execute unit test cases of our project. They're used to package our project as a jar file or war file. Jar file or war file. Okay. And next one is JUnit. JUnit is used to test our application. Could you please read these 2 points now? Hello. Yeah, guys, are you able to understand what is build tool in the project? They are used to automate project to build process. And the next one, JUnit. JUnit is used for unit testing purpose. Whatever the code we write in our project to test that code is working as expected or not, we are going for JUnit. Okay. And the next one, there is another tool available which is called JTRP. Okay. Code coverage tool. Code coverage tool to identify code coverage. That means how many lines of code is tested as part of unit testing, how many lines of code is not tested. To generate code coverage report. To generate code coverage report. To identify unit testing, unit testing to identify unit testing performance. That means how many lines of code tested, how many lines tested, how many lines not tested, how many lines tested and not tested. That can be identified by using a tool called JTRP. When you perform unit testing by using JUnit, how effectively we are doing the unit testing in the project. In our project, there are 10,000 lines of code available. Out of these 10,000 lines, how many lines of code is tested? How many lines of code is not tested? We can identify by using JTRP. JTRP is called as code coverage tool. It will generate code coverage report. It can identify unit testing statistics. It will identify unit testing statistics. That means how many lines tested and how many lines not tested. That report can be generated by using JTRP in the project. Maven is a build tool. JUnit, unit testing tool. JTRP, code coverage tool. Log4j to implement logging in the project. That means to understand runtime behavior of the application. When the project is executing in the production, there is a chance of getting some issues. So where is the issue? When that issue occurred? Why that issue occurred? What is the root cause of the issue? Such kind of problems we can identify in the project by using Log4j. Log4j is called as logging tool. The next one, SonarQube. What is a SonarQube? SonarQube is called as code review software. By using this, we can perform code review and we can identify bugs in the code. We can identify duplicate code blocks. We can identify vulnerabilities in the code. Security issues we can identify in the code by using this SonarQube. And the next one, Postman. Postman is called as API testing tool. To test REST API functionality, we are going to use this Postman. To test the backend application behavior, we are going to use this Postman. So as a backend developer, you should have the knowledge on this Postman. And the next one, JMeter. JMeter is called as performance testing tool. Whenever we develop our application, we need to test how application is responding. For 1,000 users, what is the average response time? For 1 lakh users, what is the average response time? For 10 lakh users, what is the average response time? That we can identify by using JMeter. JMeter is called as performance testing tool. It is used to test application stability, to test application responsiveness, to identify bottlenecks of the application. We are using JMeter. What is the Docker? Docker is called as containerization software. In the current market, applications are executing in the containers. We need to isolate our application execution from our machine. So here, to make our application execution portable, we are using Docker. Docker is called as containerization software. And the next one, Kubernetes. Kubernetes is called as orchestration software. It is used to manage Docker containers. By using Kubernetes, we can implement auto scaling in the project. By using Kubernetes, we can implement load balancing in the project. Using Kubernetes, you can deploy the latest code in the project, or you can roll back the latest deployments also. All the deployment activities can be managed by using Kubernetes orchestration platform. So currently in the market, people are using Dockers and Kubernetes to deploy our applications, right? Instead of doing the deployment process manually, we can automate the deployment process by using Jenkins. So what is Jenkins here? What is Jenkins here? Jenkins is called as CI/CD software. Jenkins is called as CI/CD software. So what is the meaning of CI/CD software? It is used to automate project build and deployment process. It is used to automate the project build and deployment process. So earlier, we need to take the code manually and we need to deploy that code into the server manually. Now everything is automated by using Jenkins. And the next one, we are having GitHub and Bitbucket. Next one, we are having GitHub and Bitbucket. What is the meaning of GitHub and Bitbucket? They are called as version control softwares, version control tools, right? So to integrate all the code at one place, to monitor code changes, right? Now, in the project, multiple developers will be available. In the project, multiple developers will be available. All the developers code we have to integrate at one place. To integrate project, to maintain project to source code, to integrate all the source code, code integration and code monitoring. Code integration and code monitoring. In the project, multiple developers will be available. All the developers will be working from different locations. Some people are working from Hyderabad, some people are working from Bangalore, some people are working from Chennai. But they all are working for same project. So everybody working on new functionality in the project. All the developers code should be integrated at one place. All the developers code should be integrated at one place. Here, in order to integrate all the developers code at one place, we need a place, we need a repository. Okay, so that's where GitHub and Bitbucket comes into picture. GitHub and Bitbucket are called as version control softwares. These version control softwares are used to maintain project source code at one place. They are used for code integration. They are used for code monitoring. Are you guys getting my point? GitHub and Bitbucket. GitHub and Bitbucket are called as version control softwares. They are used to maintain project source code. They are used for code integration, code monitoring. So that means who modified code modifications, who, when, why, what. So in our project, code is available. Yesterday, I have done some code in the project for the login functionality. Today, my code is not available in the project. Who modified, when modified, why modified, what modified, we should be able to track it. So such a kind of code monitoring is required in the real time. Otherwise, we cannot complete our project successfully. And developers will be working from different locations, right? Some people are, suppose if you take an example of TCS company, Hyderabad office is there, Chennai office is there, Bangalore office is there, Mumbai office is there, Pune office is available, US office is available. So the team members working from different locations, all the team members code, we have to integrate at one place. That's where the repositories comes into picture. GitHub and Bitbucket, they are called as version control softwares. They are used to maintain project to source code. They are used for code integration at one place. Code integration at one place. Code monitoring access. That means who is modifying our code, when they modified, why they modified, what they modified can be checked. We can check this kind of details by using version control softwares. And the next one, there is a software called Jira. Jira is called as project management software. Jira is called as project management software. Creating project related tasks, project tasks creation, task assignment for the people, task assignment for team members. Okay, bug reporting, bug assignment, bug reporting by testing team, bug assignment to the developers, bug assignment to developers. Pending items in the project, generate pending items report, generate report of project tasks pending or completed. Now, in the project, multiple tasks will be available related to development, related to testing, related to deployment. All the project related tasks we are going to manage by using a software called Jira. Jira is called as project management software. So tomorrow, when you go for the company, you will get the task from Jira only. So in the interview, they may ask you how you will get your daily task in the project. Daily task assignment will happen through Jira software. Your lead or your manager will assign a task for you in the Jira. So suppose today I want my team members to work on login functionality, deployment functionality. Okay, I will assign the tasks for those team members through Jira software. Jira is called as project management software. By using Jira, we will manage our complete project work, project tasks creation, task assignment for the team members, bug reporting by the testing team. When the code is a testing by the testers, if they identify some problem in the code, then they will report that bug in the Jira software. Then that Jira software is used for project management purpose. Okay. Are you guys clear with my point? Are you guys clear with my point? So the project task assignment will happen through Jira software. Project task assignment will happen through Jira software. Okay, guys. So in the real time, we are going to manage the project by using Jira. In the real time, we are going to manage the project by using Jira. Your daily tasks will be assigned through Jira software. Testing team will use Jira for the bug reporting, bug assignment, task status. Everything will be managed by using Jira. Everything will be managed by using Jira software. Are you guys clear with my point? What is Jira? Jira is used for project management purpose, project task creation, project task assignment, bug reporting, bug assignment, project status reports. How many tasks are completed in the project? How many tasks are pending in the project can be identified by using Jira report. GitHub and Bitbucket. So every developer should store their code into Git repository or Bitbucket repository. This GitHub and Bitbucket are used to maintain all the project source code at one place. So to maintain project source code, we will use GitHub. To integrate all the developers code at one place, we will use them, and they will provide monitored access. Who modified, when modified, why modified, what modified. Everything we can track by using this GitHub and Bitbucket. Jenkins is called as CI/CD software. It is used to automate project build and deployment process. Kubernetes is used for orchestration purpose. To manage our Docker containers, we are going to use Kubernetes software. Docker is used to make our application portable by using the containers. To run our application in the containers, we are going to use Docker. What is JMeter? JMeter is used to perform testing on the project, stability testing, responsive testing. How many users can access our application at a time? That can be identified by using performance testing. To do the performance testing on the project, we are going for JMeter. Then what is Postman? Postman is called as API testing. To test the backend application behavior, we are going for Postman. Next one, SonarQube. SonarQube is used for code review purpose. To perform the code review on the project, we are going to use SonarQube to identify developers' mistakes. Okay, to perform the code review, to identify developers' mistakes. To identify developers' mistakes in coding. Whatever the code we have done in the project, multiple team members will be there. Some freshers will be there in the part development. Experienced people also will be available. When experienced people write the code, quality will be there. When freshers write the code, some mistakes will be there. To identify the mistakes of the developers in the code, we are going to perform code review by using SonarQube. Next one, Log4j. Log4j is used to generate log messages of the application. And here, guys, in the real time, people will use either ELK or Splunk to monitor logs, log monitoring, log messages monitoring. When the application is executing, log messages will be generated. Okay, to understand, to get application logs from log files, to get the application logs from the log files, to troubleshoot application exceptions. Whenever the application is executing, there is a chance of getting the exception. When exception occurred, why exception occurred, where exception occurred, what is the root cause of the exception, we can monitor by using log monitoring tools. So in the real time, we will use several log monitoring tools. Some companies will use ELK, some companies will use Splunk, some companies will use Putty, some companies will use WinSCP. Like that, there are several tools available in the market to monitor logs of the application. ELK, Splunk. So ELK is open source, Splunk is a commercial. ELK, nothing but Elasticsearch plus Logstash plus Kibana. These are open source products. Splunk, commercial software. Splunk is licensed software. If a client is paying the money for the license, then we can go for the Splunk to monitor logs of the application. If a client don't have the budget for the license, then we need to go for open source products. What are the open source products available? ELK, that is nothing but Elasticsearch, Logstash, and Kibana. To get the application logs from the log files, we are going to use ELK or Splunk. By using that, we can monitor application logs. To get the application logs from the log files, we can use this. And to troubleshoot application exceptions, we can go for log monitoring. And this log monitoring can be done by using ELK, can be done by using Splunk. Splunk is commercial software, whereas ELK is the combination of 3 open source products. What are those 3 open source products in the ELK? Elasticsearch, Logstash, and Kibana. Log4j, which is used to implement logging in the project. Once the logging is implemented, application will create the log messages in the log file. To monitor the log messages of the application, this ELK or Splunk softwares we are going to use. Got my point? And next one, Jacoco. Jacoco is used for code coverage tool. We can identify how the unit testing happened in the project. How many lines of code is tested in the unit testing? How many lines of code is not tested in the unit testing by using Jacoco? Next one is JUnit. What is a JUnit? JUnit is called as our project unit testing tool. So whatever the code we have implemented, to verify whether that code is working as expected or not, we are going to use this JUnit. Maven and Gradle. Maven and Gradle are used to automate our project build process. We can create project structure by using Maven. We can download required libraries for the project by using Maven. We can compile our project to source code by using Maven. We can execute unit test cases also using Maven. We can package our project as a jar file or war file using Maven. You can use Maven or Gradle. We are going to learn both in our course. How to work with Maven and how to work with Gradle, both we are going to understand. Are you guys clear? So if you want to work as a Java developer in the company, as a fresher or as an experienced person in the real time, these all tools are important. Maven, JUnit, Jacoco, Log4j, ELK, SonarQube, Postman, JMeter, Docker, Kubernetes, Jenkins, GitHub, Jira. Swagger is also available. Or Swagger documentation tool. What is a Swagger? Swagger is called as documentation tool to generate the REST API documentation. To generate REST API documentation, we are going for Swagger. What is the main purpose of the Swagger? Swagger is used to generate REST API documentation to test the REST API through user interface. To test the REST API, to test the REST API through user interface, we are going for Swagger. Swagger is used to generate REST API documentation, and Swagger is used to test the REST API functionality through Swagger user interface. Swagger provided a UI to test our REST API. By using Swagger, we can generate documentation for the REST API. To generate the documentation for the REST APIs, we are going to use Swagger. To generate the documentation for the REST APIs, we are going to use the Swagger concept. Are you guys clear with my point? Are you guys clear with my point? So if you want, sir, do we need to learn all these tools? Yes. In the real time, every day we are going to work with all these tools. Whether you are working as a fresher, whether you are working with 3 years experience or a 10 years experience, it does not matter. Along with the Java coding, you need to know the tools also. Without these tools, we don't develop a project in the company. In the company, daily task will be assigned through Jira. In the company, project packaging will happen through Maven. For every application, unit testing will happen through JUnit. Every application will be deployed by using Docker, Kubernetes, and Jenkins. And in the every project, the Git repository or Bitbucket repository will be available. For every application, unit testing will be there. For every application, performance testing will be there. For every application, code review will be there. Along with the coding, you need to learn these tools also to survive in the real-time project. Along with the coding part, we need to know these tools also to survive in the real time. Are you guys getting my point? Are you guys getting my point? Now, in order to get the job as a Java developer, you need to know first thing backend development. You need to know backend development. That backend development we will do by using Spring Boot, REST APIs, microservices. That you should learn. Along with this, you need to learn front-end development. That front-end development you can do by using Angular or React.js. Angular or React.js. Along with this, you need to know real-time tools. Whatever I have mentioned around 15 plus tools, right? The real-time tools you need to know. Example, Maven, okay? GitHub, Maven, GitHub, Sonar, Jenkins, Docker, Kubernetes, JUnit, logging, etc. All these real-time tools knowledge is required. And you need to have the knowledge on Linux commands. And you need to have the knowledge on cloud computing like AWS or Azure or GCP. Okay. So the real-time tools, these are called as DevOps tools. Some DevOps tools, Maven, Git, Sonar, Jenkins, Docker, Kubernetes, and all that stuff. Okay. So these kind of tools also important for the developers. Okay. So you need to know backend development by using Spring Boot with microservices. You need to know the front-end development by using Angular or React. You need to know DevOps tools to operate your application, to deploy and deliver your application. You need to know the Linux commands because in the real time, our project deployment will happen on the Linux machines. And you need to know cloud services, how to work with the cloud database, how to work with the cloud machines, how to deploy our applications in the cloud, how to provision the infrastructure in the cloud platform. So this is what service-based companies are expecting from the candidates. This is what service-based companies are expecting from the candidates. If you just, sir, I completed my Java. So if I know only Java, is that sufficient? Sir, I completed Java. If I know only Java, is that sufficient? Only Java not sufficient to get the job. Only Java not sufficient to develop the project. Along with the Java, you need to know the tools also. Along with Java and tools, you need to know the front-end development. You need to know the Linux commands. You need to know the cloud computing as well. And Apache, Kafka, Redis, Cache, Mockito. JUnit and Mockito will come here only, guys. Someone is asking, are we going to learn the Mockito? Yes, sir. When we are going to perform JUnit, we are going to use mocking. JUnit and mocking. When we are performing the unit testing, we are going for JUnit with mocking. And Apache, Kafka, and Redis. Okay. Kafka is a distributed streaming platform. Redis is used to implement global cache in the application. Kafka and Redis. Okay. So in the real time, we are going to use Kafka and Redis. Kafka is used for message broker. Okay. B2B. One application want to send the message to another application. Then we will go for Apache Kafka. Redis is used for cache implementation. So any data which is static, instead of loading the data from the database every time, we can use the cache to improve performance of the application. We are going to learn Kafka and Redis also in our course. I have already given syllabus document in the group. You can see what we are going to learn as part of this training. I'm going to share the syllabus document once again in our WhatsApp group. You people joined in the group, right? Anybody who is not joined in the group, so please join there. I have given the detailed course content document in our WhatsApp group. Okay, guys. I have given WhatsApp group link in the chat box. I will share course content document in another 5 minutes in the WhatsApp group, and I will share the notes also in the WhatsApp group. If anybody is not part of that group, please join. Otherwise, you will miss the updates. Okay. Today's video, today's notes and course content document, I will share in the WhatsApp group. The WhatsApp group link I have given in the chat box. Okay. And along with these things, in the real time, we are going to use Nexus and JFrog repositories. They are called as Artifactory repositories. Okay. So we are going to use Nexus or JFrog in the real time. They are called as Artifactory servers. Artifactory servers. Why they are used in the real time? To maintain remote repositories, to store shared libraries, in the project. We are going to use Nexus. When you go for a company, you need to download the dependencies from the company repository. Every company will maintain their own remote repository by using Nexus or JFrog. So I will give some overview on the Nexus repository as well. Nexus repository, JFrog repository. They are called as Artifactory servers. They are used to maintain remote repositories in the project. They are used to store project shared libraries. Some common libraries available for every project. Okay. In the company, we are going to use some common libraries. Those common libraries we are going to maintain by using Nexus or JFrog. Some companies will use Nexus repository for shared libraries. Some companies will use JFrog to maintain shared libraries. I will give the overview on the shared libraries concept as well. Okay. So these many tools you need to learn as a Java developer. If you learn all these tools, 40 to 50% of the DevOps you are learning here. Jenkins, GitHub, Jira, Docker, Kubernetes, these all Maven, these all are DevOps tools. These all are DevOps tools. So developers should know how to work with these tools. DevOps engineers also should know how to work with these tools. Are you clear with my point? Are you guys clear with my point? Yeah. Sir, some people are new. They want to download the course content of this batch. I have shared the course content document in the WhatsApp group now. You guys can click on that link. There you will get the option to download the course content in the PDF format. The detailed course content you can download from our website. The link I have given in the WhatsApp group to download the course content. Okay. Did you guys get my message in the WhatsApp group? Can you check it now? Could you please confirm? Are you guys able to see this? Yeah. When you click on the link which I have given in the WhatsApp group, there is an option called download course content. If you click on the download course content, it will open a PDF file. In that detailed course content available, you can download that syllabus copy. What all the things we are going to learn in the course, I have given in the syllabus document. Are you guys clear? So now tell me, if you learn only Java, is that sufficient to develop a project? If you learn only Java, is that sufficient to develop the project? No. Only with Java, you cannot develop a complete project. Okay. So in order to develop a project, as I told you, you need the backend development knowledge. Currently, people are developing the backend by using Spring Boot with REST API and microservices. Front-end development people are doing by using Angular or React. DevOps tools people are using to perform operations on the project. Linux commands are required because our applications will be deployed in the Linux machines in the real time. And for every application, cloud services are required. People are using AWS Cloud, Azure Cloud, GCP Cloud. Here, I'm going to teach you AWS Cloud. Whatever is required for the Java developers, I will cover. You can see in the course content document, I mentioned that AWS Cloud topics I'm going to teach you. Linux commands also I'm going to teach you. These are DevOps tools I'm going to teach. Front-end development I will teach by using Angular. Angular will be covered as part of the syllabus. These tools will be covered. Linux will be covered. Cloud computing, AWS will be covered. Spring Boot microservices is a prerequisite to attend this course because Spring Boot course itself will take 3 months of time. Project batch will take 3 months of time. Spring Boot REST API microservices knowledge is required to attend the project course. Okay. So these things we are going to discuss. If you know these things, you should know Boot REST API and microservices. Boot and REST API microservices, I'm not going to explain in the course, guys. That is the prerequisite. Anybody who don't know these concepts, REST API and microservices, from this Friday, we are starting a batch at 7 a.m. to understand REST API and microservices topics. You guys need to attend that batch. Morning at 7 a.m., 7 to 8:30, REST API microservices are going to start. In our WhatsApp group, I will give the details. In our WhatsApp group, I will give the details for attending REST API and microservices classes. Anybody want to learn the REST API and microservices? It's very important to attend the project. Okay. Morning at 7 a.m. it is going to start. Good. 9 a.m. the project batch. From today, the regular classes are started for the project. Today, I have explained about what are the real-time tools we need to learn and what is the purpose of each tool. I hope you guys understood what tools we need to learn and what is the purpose of each tool. From tomorrow, we are going to work with the Maven. Tomorrow, we are going to start with the Maven. REST API and microservices, that is a separate course. It is not part of this course. You need to enroll for that course separately. Okay. Skill set. Java developers. Every Java developer should know. Every Java developer should know these things. If you to become a Java developer, what you need to know? You need to know backend development with the Spring Boot microservices. Front-end development, either Angular or React, any one is sufficient. DevOps tools you need to know. Okay. Linux commands you need to know. Cloud computing, any one cloud platform. Either AWS or Azure or GCP. I'm going to teach you AWS Cloud here. Every Java developer should know these things to get the job. Sir, as a fresher, do I need to know the AWS? Yes, you should know as a fresher also, as an experienced person also, because that is what industry is expecting. Everybody should be full stack developer. You should know backend development. You should know front end development. You should know DevOps tools. You should know Linux. You should know cloud. Then only you can get that job. Then only you can survive. Then only you can get the job, and then only you can survive in the job. Okay, guys, now as we mentioned that in our course, we are going to discuss several modules. I have mentioned that, right? Course content I have given. What we are going to learn, right? So here, software industry, project types, companies, permanent job, contract job, that theoretical part we already completed in the last week. Real-time tools, what tools we are going to learn today. I have given the trailer of the module 2. What are the real-time tools we should know, and what is the purpose of each tool? All the tools we have mentioned, we have discussed in the class today, we are going to learn in this entire course. Once the tools are completed, some tools we are going to learn now, then we will start with the mini projects development. Once our mini project development completed, then we will go for the major project. In the major project, we will see exception handling, multi-threading implementation, security implementation, logging implementation, cloud implementation, everything will be available. Then we are going to learn front-end development by using Angular. Okay, Angular classes will be available for you people. Angular will be covered as part of the course. And Linux and AWS commands, Linux commands and AWS cloud, I'm going to explain in the course. Cloud deployments you are going to learn. Interview guide means resume preparation, mock interviews, FAQs, HR discussion, do's and don'ts, joining formalities, exit formalities we are going to explain as part of the interview guide. And as discussed, course is timings 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. IST. Monday to Saturday classes will be available. 3 to 4 months of time this course is going to take. Fees details also I have already explained. Today we had third class. Okay, so 2 class videos I already shared. Today class is third class, and another 2 classes you can attend for free of cost. I told you can attend 5 classes for free. Tomorrow onwards we are going to start our discussion with the tools. So first I'm going to explain Maven. We are going to learn Maven tool from tomorrow. Don't miss the classes from tomorrow. The actual content is started from today. Real-time tools we have started. The tools overview we discussed today. From tomorrow, we are going to understand the tools from very basic level. What is tool, how to set up the tool and all that stuff. Okay, here guys. So as tomorrow we are going to discuss Maven, I'm going to share one small video with you people. In that video, I have explained how to set up Maven in the Windows machine. Anybody who don't know Maven, please go through that video and complete Maven setup in the Windows machine. Okay, so the latest video I have posted in the YouTube channel is related to Apache Maven setup in the Windows. Apache Maven setup in the Windows machine. Just within 5 minutes, you can do Maven setup. So guys, as going forward, for every topic, whatever the topic I'm going to discuss tomorrow, I will give some documents for that. I will give some videos for that. You go through them before coming to live class. If you watch that video, you will get 30 to 40% clarity. When you listen in the live class, you will get 100% clarity. So I will share the video, what I'm going to discuss tomorrow. So tomorrow I'm going to explain about Maven. So today I'm going to share this video, Apache Maven setup in the Windows. So people, please complete this Maven setup in your machine before coming to live class. Tomorrow we'll work with the Maven. Are you guys clear with my point? Are you guys clear with my point? Perfect. Thank you. With this, I'm stopping for today.